Hey everybody, what's new? My name is Emily and welcome back to my channel where I review, critique, and summarize scary children's books. How's it going everybody? Hope you all are doing well. Today in this video I'm going to be doing a book talk on a lower middle grade horror novel called Spirit Hunters. This is a novel by Ellen Oh. It came out in the summer of 2017 and I read this book for the Ladies of Horror Fiction Readathon that is taking place this month in the month of February, and I read this for the second challenge in the readathon, which is to read a book by an author of color. In this video, as always, I'm going to summarize the book for you, followed by a short book talk where I tell you what I think of the story and the writing, etc., and finally followed by my personal scores for this book. So if you would like to see those, make sure to stick around to the end of the video. Spirit Hunters follows 12-year-old Harper Rain when she moves with her family into a new house in Washington, D.C. And right from the get-go, Harper's new house gives her really bad vibes. Something just isn't right here, and the rumors that the house is haunted certainly don't help. Beyond her troubles with her new house, Harper has recently had a horrible accident of which she can remember nothing, and she is experiencing all of this amnesia brought on by trauma, and it seems to be affecting her in her everyday life. And on top of that, of course, now she's living in a house that gives her the major creeps. When Harper's 4-year-old brother, Michael, starts acting very weirdly, Harper realizes that she must reopen her blocked memories in order to better understand what got her into this position and how to unravel the mystery of this haunted house and save her brother from the spirits that are within it. So I want to just come right out and say that I really enjoyed this book. It surprised me at every turn, and honestly, it took my breath away in a number of ways. I'll start by talking pretty broadly about the story. So O has created a very complex and extremely layered ghost story here. I was really delighted to see how much nuance this plot had and how much meaning this book holds. On the surface, we have a story about a girl that needs to learn to embrace herself and her past in order to save her family from a haunted house. But O discusses so much more than that in this book. She discusses mental illness, self-harm, anxiety. The main character experiences racism. There's themes of courage in the face of adversity, being believed, and learning about and embracing yourself, your past, your culture, your tradition. This is one of the reasons I love horror so much, because it can be a vehicle for so much meaning and just so many themes and such complexity. O really goes for it here in the best way. There were honestly times during this book where I was completely overwhelmed by everything going on in a very positive way. It was such a positive experience reading this book. Beyond the plot, I think that O writes really well for middle grade. Harper seems really genuine, she's really funny, and she's believable. I found the action in the book to be pretty well done. O is definitely packing a lot of action into what ends up being very few words. So sometimes I felt the action scenes were like going really fast and I was having a little bit of trouble keeping up. But overall, I think that the action is pretty well done, as well as the dialogue. The dialogue is nothing to write home about, but it is still believable and you still sort of get the sense of who Harper and her friends and her family are. I did have a few moments throughout the book where I felt like there was a little bit too much exposition too fast. And I'm thinking particularly of one moment near the climax of the book where Harper learns a bunch of new information from a conversation that she overhears between two other characters. The conversation does feel a little bit forced, but that was one of the only moments that I was pulled out of the story. Everything else is honestly killer. Something I loved about this book is how informed it is by Korean culture, and keep in mind that I am not the best reviewer to be talking about the cultural aspects of this book. Not being a person of color myself, from my perspective, I really loved learning about the traditions and customs surrounding spirits and exorcisms in Korean culture. The diversity in this book is wonderful, and O speaks up on issues of racism multiple times throughout the book. Honestly, more books like this, please. Finally, my absolute favorite thing about this book is how much it pushes the envelope in terms of horror. This book is scary, and it's one of the few kids' horror books that I've read that felt really informed by supernatural horror movies, and not kids' horror movies, mind you. I think that kids' books and movies and books for adults in the same genre almost always speak to each other, but this one felt like a horror movie. And when I say it pushes the envelope, what I'm referencing is just everything that the main character has to go through. Not only is Harper scared and creeped out by ghosts throughout this entire book, she is actually physically attacked by the supernatural. The supernatural attempts to kill her multiple times. This book is actually quite violent, and strikingly so, and not only supernatural kind of violence, but violence actually done by human characters to other human characters. There were quite a few scenes where I just kind of felt chills go up my spine, and I had to stop reading and sit with it for a bit and think, well, did that just really happen? Is this a book for kids 8 to 12? And I don't mean to over-exaggerate this part of the story. It really is still appropriate for kids, but it stands out a little bit in the horror genre for children in this regard. But the great thing about the horror being dialed up a little bit more here is that by the time Harper overcomes what she needs to overcome and becomes empowered and not afraid anymore, it packs so much of a punch. The fact that she can go through all of this and save her family and save her brother's life really is just, honestly, I cried. I guess what I'm saying is that this is a really well-crafted horror novel for kids. It sort of embodies in a lot of ways what I love about kids horror, and it is that empowerment. It's that narrative of overcoming something that's scary in order to be a better person and just grow. So with all of that in mind, I am going to give Spirit Hunters an 8 out of 10 for writing and language and a 9 out of 10 for story. This isn't a perfect book. I don't think any book is perfect, but I think that it is extremely well constructed, extremely well written, and totally worthy of your time. In terms of scares, I am going to give this book a whopping 9 out of 10. This is not a softly scary book. It does not beat around the bush. It contains possession, talk of the devil, talk of murder, talk of torture. There is a lot of violence done to the main character and threatened to be done to the main character, if that makes any sense. Again, this doesn't make the book inappropriate for kids, but it does make it a big recommendation for kids that already love horror. And finally, I am going to give Spirit Hunters a full 10 out of 10 for my personal score. This is the first full personal score I've given on this channel, and I am reserving that score for the books that I love the most. So again, this book is by no means perfect, but just based on how much fun I had with it and how invested I was in the characters and how much I learned and etc, 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 this is very worthy of a 10 out of 10. If you read one kids horror novel this winter, make it Spirit Hunters. Alright guys, so that is it for my review today. Thank you so much for watching as always. If you liked the video, go ahead and give it a like and let me know in the comments below if you've read this book or if you're interested in reading this book. I really hope this review convinces some of you guys to pick this up because, honestly. And if you're new here, go ahead and click that subscribe button. I will be here doing scary kids book reviews and videos like this for the foreseeable future. And if you want to follow me on social media, the links are always in the description below as well. Alright guys, so that is all she wrote. So I'm going to sign off now. I will see you guys very soon for the next book in the readathon. Looking forward to it. And until then, happy reading. Bye.